Welcome to 1,001 Ways to Cope with Stress. I am Professor Kinshasa Shabaka, and today we have, in the name of Dr. Frederick Munderson, the gift that keeps on giving. He has willingly accepted an invitation to talk with us on Black African Womanism, as this is the month, International Month of Women. I thank you, Dr. Munderson, for being here.
Thank you for inviting me
And
again.
welcome back from your workaholic vacation in
Guyana. I was in Guyana,
yes.
and then I just came back from Georgia.
Fantastic. So you were able to get 3 more pieces written. I tell you, it's wonderful. Well, again, thank you, and we will now have his presentation on Black African Womanism.
Yes, so again, thank you for inviting me. My topic today is Black African Womanism. Of course, as you know, this is Women's History Month. We've just followed from Black History Month. So this month, in celebration of women's history, I give you the African woman, the Black woman, blessed with beauty, charm, and wit, a unique specimen encapsulated in many experiences, from being worshipped as goddesses and queen mother to enslaved African household servant, revolutionary victim of racism, incarceration, forced to constantly cultivate the art of sexual politics, having been a victim of sex on demand by the master, his son, and the overseer, extolling as an intellectual but more forcefully doubling as a compassionate wife, mother, churchgoer, to entrepreneur, professional, even musician, and most important, too blessed to stress. Thus, it's easily recognized from time immemorial whether Denknesh or Lucy or Eve, particularly even the mythological goddesses, queens, and just plain folk. Today's circumstances demand educational activism, political practitioner, insightfulness, yet through it all, the African woman has demonstrated an illustrious history as pillar, symbol, motif, and individual of profound spiritual substance. Whether wielding power, supporting husband, family, or simply being loved and admired, she has earned iconic stature. Virtuous soul, champion, standing as a magnificent work of art, woman manifesting virtue and pizzazz, this God-ordained jewel given the black man and the world is a prize to respect, appreciate, cherish, and love. So much so, in praising the African woman, Dr. Yosef Ben Johanan, in admonishing the black man to love the black woman, whom he placed upon a high plateau, reminded that she has done something that he can't do. Given the obelisk is a pyramid on a high base, this is where Dr. Ben placed the African woman. His intellectual activism notwithstanding, his many historical and cultural works in addition, this respectful and cherished adulation looms large in his claim to fame. Inasmuch as Shu of Shu and Tefnut fame, who in the mythology, Shu separated Geb, the earth god, from Nut, the sky goddess. He created the heavens. In this departing embrace, Nut, the heavens, the goddess of heaven, was pregnant, and as such, heaven came into being. Her body, therefore, became body, legs, and arms became the heavens, and the 4 pillars supporting the heavens therein. As such, Dr. Ben went as far as to claim heaven is between a black woman's legs. After all, the goddess Nut, as depicted on the ceiling of a small kiosk within its own court at the temple of Dendera, her image not only shines rays on the temple, but she is shown giving birth to the sun in the morning. This powerful phenomenon then sails across the heavens, her body, and she swallows it up at evening time. having overcome the challenges of the nightly experience in the underworld, this magical, mystical creation re-emerges on the next morning. Thus we see creation in process, with a woman as dynamo in continuous rebirth of a wonderful experience. Strange yet still, Nut, like the goddess Nephthys, Isis's companion and counterpart, the hardest working woman in the divinity business, mirrors the efforts of so many women today. They get little or no credit for the profound efforts at home, in school, on the job, in the streets, wherever. And this is something that must be corrected. They must get their respect. Fast forward to modern times. Cherise Prevail, my grandmother, was the first Pan-African internationalist activist in our family, devoutly religious, and who would have been 122 years this past January 19. January 19, that is January 19 of 2017, she would have been 122 years old, having passed away some 20 or so years ago. January 19 represents the holiest day in ancient Egypt. It was the date of the birth of the god Osiris, and is also the date of one of my co-workers, Melinda Melbourne, who is a wonderful person. On March 6, 1957, yesterday, 2 days ago, this week, my mother, Mita Munderson, dressed in the flag of the new Ghanaian nation, advocated for and celebrated its independence on Ghana Day. She too was a Pan-African internationalist of note and a woman of deep and enduring religious conviction. Locally in Brooklyn, Crown Heights, Ruth Goring and her daughter Lois, as well as Elsie Richardson and Margaret Vincent, did much for their community, but sadly are not remembered in any significant way. In ancient Egypt, goddesses played a crucial role in the drama of the heavens, the heavenly experience. Queens sat in equality, even exerting influence in matters of state, culture, and religion, molding the destiny of her family. But more important, in composition of the triad of husband, wife, and son. Here, woman demonstrated her indisputable function of not simply molding the destiny of her family, but that of humanity, to ensure its survivability in rapidly changing times. In that profound triadic, I call it triadic experience, husband, wife, and son, whether it was Ra, Rat, and the elder Horus. There were two Horuses. The elder Horus, who was among the primeval gods, and Horus, who was the son of Isis and Osiris. He's the youngest Horus. So Ra, Rat, and the elder Horus represented the Heliopolis triad. Isis, Osiris, and Horus, the Abydos triad. Sekhmet, Ta, Ptah, and Nefertum, later Imhotep, Memphis triad. Satet and Akhret, who were two, Khnum had two wives. They didn't get to having any children, but he had two wives. He was the god of the cataract at Aswan, and he is the god who made man on his potter's wheel. And at Karnak, it was Mut, Amun, and Khonsu, the Theban triad. And these triads, in essence, combining, they were not really different. They were one viewed from different perspectives, but they molded the destiny of man and humanity. Among the queens, high standards of morality, creative thinking in decision-making, influencing events and developments of their day, making their mark on the times. They have left images, monuments, and expressions attesting to their never taking a back seat in life's many challenges. As all of this unfolded, we hear of Teti Sheri. She was a queen, mother, wife of a great warrior. Ahotep, mother, queen, revolutionary, soldier, one who foiled the coup to save her throne for her progeny. Amis Nefertari, queen, goddess with temple, ancestress, blazing a trail to influence generations. Hatshepsut, queen, king, she rules as king also. Yeah. Builder, woman wielding power, initiating profound cultural creativity. T, wife inequality, she sat on the throne with her husband, not behind, but inequality. Mother, power behind the throne, she was a diplomat and a revolutionary. Nefertiti, wife, mother, partner in religious revolution. Beautiful specimen as wife and mother. Nefertari, wife, symbol with her own temple, beloved, buried with great pomp and splendor. These have all borne the mantle of African womanism with distinction, admirable excellence to be respected and emulated. In Middle African history, Arabic travelers reported the women of West Africa were free, friendly, and generous. A sort of Dionysian mentality pervaded in their behaviors, lifestyles, and surroundings. These same women were laid a march through the door of no return to lay the foundation of chattel slavery in the New World of North and South America and the Caribbean. When Sonny Carson, the Brooklyn activist, repatriated his uncle, the runaway Samuel Carson, to Ghana, West Africa, to open the door of return, he was buried alongside an enslaved African woman from Jamaica named Crystal, and they both today reside at a place called Asin Manso, where the Africans were given their last bath before they're being shipped abroad. Faced with challenges amid tragedy, Queen Nzinga fought the Portuguese slave dealers, and equally the magnificent Ya Asantewaa led Ghanaian soldiers against British colonial machinations to free her beloved land. You know, there is something about Ghana, where my mother was wearing that flag, that produced Ya Asantewaa and the illustrious Kwame Nkrumah. The land where W.B. Du Bois, the great African American intellectual, chose to be buried, and where Leonard Jeffries, our local icon, and Professor James Smalls extol in remarkable expressions where they often travel to. Bottom Belly and Queen Mary rode with the Hill and Gully Riders in Jamaica, resisting colonial efforts, etching their names in Caribbean history as first-rate revolutionaries. Phyllis Wheatley, the poet, demonstrated African intellectual capabilities amidst the sorrowful experience of chattel slavery, where all around slave farms and chattel coffles brought black women to slave marts to be examined in public by lecherous businessmen professing Christian values and beliefs. Sojourner Truth advocated against the cruelty of slavery, and Harriet Tubman admirably ran her railroad, rescuing many to live free or die. Constance Baker Motley championed African people in writing and actions amidst rampant American terrorism in the 19th century, manifested after the long night of African captivity. For she saw and challenged the lynching of black women alongside numerous similar instances meted out to the black man. Mary McLeod Bethune, as educator, freed the African mind, while Barbara Jordan sought redemption through political advocacy, and Sybil Williams and Gertrude resolutely supported Dr. John Henry Clark and Dr. Yusuf Ben-Johannan as they spoke truth to power, uplifting the African and freeing his mind to be empowered to challenge the might of the oppressor. Namsa stood resolutely in revolutionary fervor beside the deep-thinking little giant Harlem's Elombe Brat, who held the high symbol of Patrice Lumumba as Africa struggled to be free from the yoke of colonialism, imperialism, and African exploitation. What more can be said of Michelle Obama, that quintessential crown jewel whose heritage chronicled the slave experience from the deep South, female slave coffles being traveled from plantation shacks to the White House, yet such intellect and blessedness was demonstrated in magnanimity of spirit, echoing Mother Emmanuel's forgiveness. Thus, within the broader context, in as much as history has rightly sought to place African women in a better light, we need to further give credence to conditions of African women in the workforce, whether in terms of job security, promotion, salary, victims of sexual harassment, qualifications for job security, whether in government or the private sector, and in education, whether at the basic levels or college, even the high levels, particularly postgraduate research opportunities. Sustainable marriages, child rearing to create strong families oriented towards the future, its many challenges and opportunities. The role of Negro organizations such as Delta Sigma Theta, Alpha Kappa Alpha, the National Council of Negro Women deserve a salute for their indisputable efforts to save God's blessed children. That salute in recognition go out to people such as Fannie Lou Hamer, political champion demanding to be heard, Madam C.J. Walker, entrepreneur who paved the way for black women, Amy Jacks Garvey, inspiration, a pillar of support for her man and behind the Garvey effort. Edgar Morley Evers, wife, shocked in assassination and left to carry on a mantle of excellence, activism, and symbol. Coretta Scott King, icon in her own right. I met her once. Need I say more? Rosa Parks, tired but tarried on to ignite the movement to change a nation and be seen as a global icon. I was coming back from the Washington, D.C., and the bus stopped, and I actually saw the hearse carrying Rosa Parks to be placed within the Capitol building. So I never met her personally, but I saw her on the last journey, and I was very happy to have that opportunity. Betty Shabazz, champion of a people, symbol and galvanizing force for nationalists and people of goodwill whose noble spirit ignites inspiration. Viola Plummer, revolutionary, long on the battlefield and ready to die for the people. Cherise Maloney, resolute queen mother, activist, seer, and black woman extraordinary. Carmen, loving mother. What more can I say? Queen Mother Moore, champion, symbol, icon. Palm Africa. Besmirched, yet carry on as champion, symbol, until we are all free. Betty Dobson, tenacious revolutionary warrior woman, visionary activist, organization builder. Adelaide Sanford, queen mother, intellectual giant, and education icon who relished in being beloved. She was a regent at the New York State Board, and as Dr. McIntosh said, she danced with the devil, the real devil. Oprah Winfrey, woman for all seasons, and again Michelle Obama, embodiment of charm, grace, intellect, fashionista, standing by her man and never forgetting ancestral heritage. The world is her oyster. Finally, let us not forget, Frederick Douglass once said of Negro or black women, if by the depths from which they have come, rather than the heights to which those blessed with centuries of opportunities have attained, Negro women need not hang their head in shame. Thus we have profound cadre of black women of resolute and conscious determination, spiritual and philosophical vibrancy and humaneness, cultural and educational tenacity, intellectual fortitude and nobility of spirit, the quintessential dynamics engendering articulation of the highest standards and manifestation of African womanism, boldly looking to the future, educating the nation to meet whatever challenges come. So therefore we have the black woman, the African woman, the greatest manifestation of African womanism.
Incredible, incredible. The way in which you could encapsulate that amount of history and the comprehensive research that you had to do to accomplish that is magnificent. We thank you, Dr. Frederick Munderson.
Well, of course, you know, sadly, I've had to, even yourself, having sat here and done the wonderful work that you have done in educating the people, creating that vision that people could chew on, look into, feel proud of the work you have done. You too need to be credited with some of these accolades because you are as close as I can get right now to the vibrancy that African womanism represents.
Thank you, sir, so very much. And we thank you all for listening to 1001 Ways to Cope with Stress. You have been blessed. We have all been blessed. Thank you.
Thank you.